So now we're going to find the actual measures of an angle. So we're going to try to find angle K, and we're going to try and find angle M. So we'll start with K. Again, we'll write out SOHCAHTOA to help us remember our definitions. And for angle K, what is what? Now the hypotenuse is always going to be the hypotenuse, so that would be the first thing to label. Can you see that opposite the 90 degrees is the 8, the longest side? This is always going to be your hypotenuse. And since we know the hypotenuse, when we're going through SOHCAHTOA, we know we're not going to use tan because it doesn't involve the hypotenuse. Now for angle K, is the 3 the opposite or the adjacent side? For angle K, it's the opposite side. So now we have the opposite side, we have the hypotenuse. Which of the ratios uses the opposite and the hypotenuse? That would be sine. So when you go to write it out, you would say sine of angle K is opposite over hypotenuse, which is 3/8. Okay, so we have sine of K equals 3/8. That has told us the ratio. It hasn't told us the angle. The angle is right here. K is the angle. So that is what we want by itself. So the opposite of sine, the inverse of sine, is sine inverse. And then we would get K by itself, and K would be sine inverse of 3/8. And you go to your calculator. Second sine, to get the sine inverse, 3 divided by 8. Push enter, and it tells us the angle is 22 degrees. Oh, to the nearest tenth of the degree would be decimal 0. Nice. But to the nearest tenth of the degree, to show that accuracy, I would still put decimal 0. How are we going to find angle M? Probably the easiest way. Just make them all add up to 180, right? So if I want to find angle M, that's the symbol for angle. Angle M is going to equal 180 minus 90 minus the 22. And when we do that, we get 68.0 degrees that way. You can also find angle M. Say you decided you were going to find angle M first and you hadn't found angle K. Well, if I'm dealing with angle M, the 8, I'm going to use green, the 8 is still my hypotenuse. But now the 3 is no longer the opposite side for angle M. For angle M, the 3 is the adjacent side. So the numbers on the sides are sometimes opposite, sometimes adjacent, and it always depends which angle you're talking about. Now that I'm talking about angle M, which I've done in green, now the 3 is the adjacent side. So if I was setting up my ratios, I would look for the one that has adjacent and hypotenuse, and from our definitions, that's cosine. So I have cosine of angle M would equal adjacent over hypotenuse. Again, the inverse of cos is cos inverse. And you get angle M is equal to cos inverse of 3/8. Do that on your calculator, 67.97, rounded to the nearest tenth would be 68 degrees.